Let's go over every scenario that could possibly happen for the Pittsburgh Steelers here in Week 18 and exactly where they could finish, what seed they may be, and which teams they may face in the opening round of the playoffs. Welcome back to Mic Drop Sports, everybody, here on a Wednesday. Happy New Year to everybody. Happy New Year's Day. May your year be filled with joy and happiness and family and friends, and I hope 2025 is the best year yet for all of you. But again, let's welcome back everybody. All the new subscribers, all the people that have been hitting the likes and viewing on the live shows. We truly appreciate it. But I want to dive in here right now and give you every playoff scenario that there could possibly be for the Pittsburgh Steelers right now that are logical in Week 18 and what is probably going to happen. The Pittsburgh Steelers find themselves in a simple situation in terms of winning the division. The Division 1 is easy. Either the Ravens have to lose against Cleveland, which is going to be very far-fetched considering Cleveland doesn't have much to play for. They are in the absolute basement of the AFC North, and it really matters zero to them what happens in this game, and a loss would probably be better for them in terms of draft seeding and their placement inside of the 2025 NFL Draft. However, when we look at this scenario, the possibility does still remain that the Cleveland Browns could beat the Baltimore Ravens, and that would mean the Pittsburgh Steelers have to beat the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 18 on Saturday night in primetime, and that would give the Pittsburgh Steelers the number 3 seed. That is the only way that they can reach the number 3 seed. Is with a Baltimore loss and a Pittsburgh win. And that's the highest the Steelers could finish, is the number 3 seed, thanks to the Buffalo Bills. They have an outstanding record along with the Kansas City Chiefs, and they are locked into the 1 and 2 seed in the AFC Conference playoffs. So the Pittsburgh Steelers again find themselves in a situation to where they could be no higher than the 3 seed, and that is if they win the AFC North Division. Now, when things start to get tricky here is where the Steelers may be seated in terms if they don't win the division, which is probably the possibility. They could be anywhere from the 5 to the 6 seed here. So the Steelers could possibly be as low as the 6 seed, the 3, 5, or 6. So the Bengals, the team that the Steelers are playing, they find themselves in a predicament where they have to win, and they need some help. The Miami Dolphins and the Denver Broncos both have to lose in Week 18 to allow the Cincinnati Bengals to even have a chance to get in with a win. That would put the Bengals in as the 7th seed and get them a matchup with the Buffalo Bills in the opening round of the playoffs in Orchard Park, New York. Now you're getting back to the Steelers here. The Steelers could be, again, the 5 or the 6 seed, and probably the best case scenario would be the 5 seed. Yeah, you don't want them to play the 6th seed because chances are what? You're going to play Baltimore. You got to go play the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore, and I don't think that would be the most conducive to success for the Pittsburgh Steelers in terms of their first-round playoff matchup. But if the Steelers do get the 3 seed by some slim chance, they do win the AFC North, they would probably face the Chargers. The Chargers are locked into the playoffs. Would that be the opening round matchup you want? The Steelers have already beaten the Chargers once this year, but the Chargers have been hot. They've played their way in. They are locked into the playoffs. So necessarily that might not be the best option either. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, again, are locked in. So they're going somewhere. They're going in one of these 3 positions, 3, 5, or 6. So here's the other scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers. If they beat the Cincinnati Bengals, that will lock them in as the 5 seed for sure, regardless of any other outcome in any other game. That would get them into the game with the Houston Texans in round 1. And that gets them another meeting with one Deontay Johnson. So that would be something interesting maybe to see. I don't know if Deontay really plays any big role in any of this, but it was just something that was interesting as a storyline. But another real simple thing here, guys, is the Ravens and Steelers both win. That would lock the Steelers into the number 5 seed and a game against the Houston Texans, which might be the most ideal matchup, really, honestly, for the Pittsburgh Steelers. If the Steelers lose to Cincinnati, they can still finish as the 5 seed, but they would need the Chargers to lose, and the Chargers are going up against the Raiders, who are another shitty team. I don't believe that the Chargers would be resting anybody there, especially if they have the opportunity to kick the Steelers out of the 5 seed and put them as the 6 and make them go play Baltimore. That wouldn't make sense for them. They would probably try to make sure they win that game. So the Steelers would be locked into a showdown again if the Chargers lose, even if the Steelers lose with the Houston Texans. So those are the scenario, guys. Those are the 3 scenarios that could really play out. Again, the Steelers could be the number 3. They would play the Chargers. They could finish as the number 5 seed, and that would be against the Texans down in Houston. And they can finish as the 6th seed, which would give them a matchup against the Baltimore Ravens. I don't think any of these situations that could happen are the end of the world for the Steelers. I think the Texans one would be a very good one, in my opinion. I also think the Ravens game would be very good. Why? Because the Steelers have played really, really well against divisional opponents. It's just something that has been, the status quo for the Steelers. And, it's hard to bet against them in a divisional matchup, in my opinion. I think that they have a great chance to win any divisional game. So, you might see the Bengals in there. You might see 3 AFC North teams in there. That would be kind of crazy to have 3 of them in there. But, chances are probably not. I don't think that both the Dolphins and the Broncos will both lose in Week 18. I don't think that will happen. Even regardless, whatever the Bengals do against the Steelers, it just doesn't seem logical that it will all happen. But stranger things have happened. So, yes. Here we are, guys. Those are the playoff scenarios. These are the realistic playoff scenarios that, are going to happen. I'm sure there's some crazy off the wall scenario that could happen. That may be different, but it would probably require 1,000,001 different things. These are the real ones. These are the logical ones. These are the, definitive ways that the Pittsburgh Steelers can get their seeding solidified here, which will happen no matter what. Week 18, this is it, man. This is the last week of the season. There is no tomorrow, my friends. Like our show yesterday, we talked about that. There is no tomorrow. But what do these games mean for the Pittsburgh Steelers? I think they have an excellent chance to gain a lot of momentum here. I think they have an excellent chance with their health getting better and better each and every day, which is something super positive to see. You got to look at it this way, too. A lot of teams that have players that are on the IR heading into the playoffs, they're going to open their practice window, guys. It makes no sense not to, because they could be out the next week and it wouldn't matter. So their 21-day window would be open. And it's really not a non-losing situation to open every guy on IR, open up their window, get them in practice, see what they can do, and have the possibility of having a depth piece there in the playoffs, or maybe a player that could possibly contribute if need be. If you're struggling in a certain area, to help you out, make that playoff run. So that's why you saw guys like Roman Wilson, guys like Cole Holcomb have their practice windows open. And again, you're going to see all these teams do that for players. If they have players like that of significance on the IR, it makes no sense not to. But a win, what does a win in the playoffs mean for the Steelers? I think it means a lot. I don't think you would call the season a success, but I think it gets the monkey off the back. I think it starts to send this franchise back in the right direction in terms of playoff wins, and maybe reignite some of that competitive spirit inside of that building in terms of competing for Lombardi Trophy. So I definitely think it would have a significant effect on the Steelers moving forward, no doubt about that. But what I think would really ignite this franchise and set up very big, high hopes for next season would be 2 playoff wins. And again, after that, all bets are off. Throw all your chips in the middle of the table and roll the dice, baby. But that's about all you can do. I think 2 playoff wins would be just really fantastic for this franchise, and really get this franchise pointed back in the right direction. I think it's something very important. I think it's something that needs to be done here. I think it's something that would just be special for this team and really show the fan base that the team is headed in the right direction. Because we got to be honest, guys, that stretch of 3 games, Philly, Baltimore, Kansas City, that was probably the toughest 3 games in a row ever, in my opinion, at least in my memory. That's probably the toughest 3-game stretch ever, and the Steelers were in those games. And if you want to discount the Pittsburgh Steelers in the playoffs because of those 3 games, you want to judge them off of those 3 games, go ahead. I think you're a little misguided with that. I think that you're going a little overboard because that was a difficult task. I don't know many teams that would have been able to complete that trifecta. I don't know if they would have been able to get it done. There ain't many teams in the NFL that could handle that type of schedule. The NFL set it up perfectly to play into their favor, considering the Pittsburgh Steelers were in the driver's seat of the AFC North during that time. But you know what? You find yourself in the situation you're in. And you're preparing for what you got to prepare for. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have an excellent opportunity. And if you're discounting the Steelers in the playoffs, again, I think you need to reevaluate it because the Pittsburgh Steelers are still for real. They are still contenders. And if they are my pick inside of the AFC Conference playoffs to be a real spoiler because they can beat anybody. They were in all of those games, those big significant games against teams that everybody wants to pick to be in the Super Bowl. They were in every single one of those games, even the Kansas City game. Yes, they let a couple of them get out of hand there at the end. It is what it is. But they were in and they had their opportunities to win each and every one of those ball games. And in my opinion, they didn't get just dominated in any of those games. And they probably played their 3 worst football games out of the entire season. After playing that gauntlet, though, once you go up against some of these other teams, it might be a little bit easier, man. You know what I mean? You might feel to be a little bit easier if you're the Steelers because you're not going against some of these high-powered teams, and that may be that chance to gain this momentum and gain this run on the AFC Conference playoffs and really do something successful. All right, guys, make sure you join us tonight for Steel City Live here on Mike Drop Sports. I'm your host, Jason, as always. Don't forget to like and share this show also. Not only the live shows, but like and share this show also. We only need 90 more subscribers, guys, and we will hit that 4,000 mark, which is so awesome. I never thought this channel would make it to 4,000 subscribers, but here we are, breathing down the neck of 4,000, so we are about there. But how does that happen? That happens because you are going to share this show, you are going to like this show, and you are going to send it out into the YouTube algorithm for all to see and everybody to join in the best conversation that's going on YouTube right now for NFL football, and that is here on Mike Drop Sports. All right, guys, until tonight for Steel City Live, I'm Jason. Peace out, my friends. See you on the next one.